All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JB. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to listen to our program. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedbacks, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Week 9, 2019, Dallas Cowboys, a 28-24 loss at home to the visiting Minnesota Vikings. Let's go into our statistics. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 28 of 46 pass attempts for 397 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, 20 carries for 47 yards, and we'll talk about that as the show goes on. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, 11 catches, 147 yards with 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Randall Cobb, 6 catches, 106 yards, and 1 touchdown. Linebacker Jalen Smith, 13 total tackles, 7 solo tackles. And DeMarcus Lawrence, 8 total tackles, 5 solo tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, as well as 1 sack by Robert Quinn. The Cowboys defense allowed 364 yards, allowing 97 yards and 26 carries to running back Dalvin Cook, as well as 7 catches of 86 yards, and Dalvin Cook also had 1 touchdown. The reason why it's not 100 yards because at the end of the game, when the Minnesota Vikings were trying to run the clock out, they tossed the pitch, or pitched a toss rather, to Dalvin Cook, who ended up bobbling the ball and had a 3-yard loss, and actually knocked him back from gaining 100 yards on the Dallas Cowboys. And backup running back Alexander Mattison had 8 carries for 52 yards. Just throwing something out here. The backup running back for the Minnesota Vikings had more yards and less attempts than Ezekiel Elliott, the Dallas Cowboys starting running back. So definitely the good, obviously, is quarterback Dak Prescott's play. I think he had his best game of the season. He definitely, clearly the Minnesota Vikings game plan was to take away Zeke, and that's what they did. And I'm going to get into the coaching as to why I think they lost this game. But I thought that Prescott played his most complete game, I would say, of the season against a quality team. Now, he's had probably performances against the Giants and the Redskins and the Dolphins, but against a winning team with a winning record, with a solid defense, I thought that Prescott looked poised. I thought he played excellent. I think it was his best game, and I think had the Cowboys won this game, it definitely would have been a great victory for Dak Prescott. Unfortunately, they lost the game. Now, I just read to you the statistics: Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, and Randall Cobb. But on your screen, I have right tackle La'el Collins, and I think to attempt 46 passes with the edge rushers that the Minnesota Vikings have, and they mentioned La'el Collins' name, and you didn't hear La'el Collins' name really again before the end of the night. So that's why I gave the Chin Check Player of the Week to La'el Collins. So definitely show the offensive line some love. I was going to give it to DeMarcus Lawrence, but not enough sacks, not enough, he made a lot of hustle plays, and that's great when you make hustle plays, but what about behind the line of scrimmage plays? What about sacks, and what about turnovers? So I give DeMarcus Lawrence the hustle plays, running down screen passes, running down Dalvin Cook on some plays, but the Chin Check Player of the Week is going to be the offensive line, and more specifically La'el Collins, for the great job he did against the Minnesota Vikings pass rush. Now, folks, this loss, and I really explained last week why this was an important game for playoff implications, wild card, and the Cowboys just blew the head-to-head matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. So now at this point, they're going to have to win the division, or they basically have no shot at making the playoffs. So that went up in smoke. Again, the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know what it is. They come out flat in the first quarter, but they were down 14-0 in the first quarter. Why that is, I don't know. They don't seem to catch a team bus until the second quarter or the second half. So again, that is another alarming trend of the team sleepwalking in the first quarter. And what happened was they were driving. They decided to attempt, I believe, a 57-yard field goal that Brett Maher missed. Vikings take the ball. drive it right down the field and they scored the first touchdown. As for the defense, now I read to you the defense statistics. I was rather disappointed, very disappointed. I'm trying to say disappointed, but I'm going to say disturbed because I saw a lot of missed tackles at the beginning of the game. I did not see guys wrapping up. I see guys going for hard hits. So the tackling I felt was atrocious. And I remember on one play when Dalvin Cook caught a screen pass, I think I counted about 3 missed tackles. And if nobody is noticing this, Leighton Vander Esch to me has not played well this season. And I'm looking at a lot of missed tackles, a lot of bad angles. I know they praise him on one play for running down Dalvin Cook, but he still got 3 yards. So the linebacking core that's supposed to be their strength is turning out to be a little bit of a weakness. I don't know what it is. I thought the tackling was atrocious. Sean Lee was beaten on 2 touchdown passes. The first one, I'm not gonna say it was lucky because these are the NFL athletes and these are the guys that are the greatest in the world. A throwaway by Kirk Cousins. The guy made a great spectacular one-handed catch. The second touchdown, he was beaten again. So I was bothered because it almost reminded me of the Rams playoff game last season where the defense, they really just got ran on. And I felt that Dalvin Cook, as well as a backup running back, just really established themselves, or the Vikings offensive line established themselves in the trenches with a lot of rollouts and bootlegs and a lot of zone runs. And I thought they kind of punched the Dallas Cowboys defense in the mouth. I didn't see a dominating Dallas Cowboy defense. Yeah, they made a few plays here and there, but to me, they were not dominating. So that was kind of disappointing. Now, as for the coaching staff, again, the Minnesota Vikings, their game plan was centered around stopping Ezekiel Elliott. You have to expect that. He's one of the top 4 or 5 running backs in the league, just got paid a huge contract. Every media person will tell you that the Cowboys will go only as far as Ezekiel Elliott's legs. Now, let me go back to a quick point here. For the naysayers that say the Cowboys are not built to come from behind, well, that just got debunked totally tonight because, again, the Cowboys are down 14-0, and by the end of the first half, they were down 17-14. That was only because of a late field goal by the Minnesota Vikings. So that whole myth that the Cowboys are down, Dak Prescott is not the quarterback to bring them back, I totally disagree with that statement, and that was proven tonight. But I want to go back to Ezekiel Elliott and the coaching staff. Now, clearly, the Vikes keyed on stopping Zeke, which they did an excellent job by 20 carries and 47 yards. So by doing that, that means your wide receivers have to win their matchups on the outside. Clearly, Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb did, as well as contributions by Michael Gallup. So your receivers, they were definitely were winning the battles outside. They definitely, especially Amari Cooper, I mean, playing with the sideline like he was and catching the balls and falling out of bounds, great hands. So definitely impressed. What bothered me was if the team is shutting down the run, why, oh why, did I not see not one quarterback keeper? Why, oh why, did I not see one bootleg? Why, oh why, did Dak Prescott not run not one time? I mean, you keep banging your head against the wall. I mean, at some point, you have to make adjustments. I don't know what Kellen Moore was calling. Again, the passing game was working fine. Now they get to the fourth quarter. Cowboys are driving. They need a touchdown to win the game. They're passing the ball. Vikings are on their heels. Then you get to the 10-yard line and start handing the ball off to Zeke, which totally killed all of your momentum. You hand the ball 2 straight times to Zeke, get nothing in return. Then you go on 4th down, and who you go to again? Ezekiel Elliott. This was not the Ezekiel Elliott show today. You have Jason Witten, you have Blake Jarwin, you have Randall Cobb, you have Amari Cooper, you have Michael Gallup, and you don't go to any of these guys, and these guys were the ones who brought you to the dance, who got you as close to winning this game as possible. And you force feed to Ezekiel Elliott. Now, last week, it was Zeke's week. This week, it was not his week. You have to adjust accordingly. And why, oh why, are you forcing the ball to Ezekiel Elliott in that moment where clearly your passing game was your bread and butter for this evening? And why are you forcing the ball to Zeke Elliott when you have a mobile quarterback who can use his legs? There was no reason why not a read option wasn't called, a quarterback keeper was called, a bootleg was called where Dak can just roll out and either find an open man or take it in himself. To me, that was piss poor play calling by the offensive coordinator, which speaks to a large issue of the Dallas Cowboys about not putting a complete game together. You'll have your games where the defense plays great, the offense doesn't show up. Like tonight, the offense played great, the defense really didn't have a good game. Then when everything seemed to come together to win the game, to stay on top of the division, which they are by virtual tiebreaker, but to have a stranglehold on the division, to have a stranglehold on the wild card spot, you start calling runs to Ezekiel Elliott, which he hasn't been running well all night. And on fourth down, you call a fourth down pass, which is a great play by the linebacker, but that play shouldn't have been called, or at least a quarterback keeper, or look for the guys who have a hot hand all day today. Now, what is concerning about this game is that the Dallas Cowboys have yet to defeat a team who they possibly might see in the playoffs. Now, I know they have that one victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Eagles have been rather sporadic themselves this season, so they've been up and down. But out of all the potential teams who they have a chance of seeing in the playoffs, the Saints, the Packers, and now the Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys are 0-3 against all teams. I could care less, and I could give a damn about playing competitive. I could care less about playing a close game. I don't take any more victories. This game was theirs to win, and they let it slip away. That's a problem. That's a serious problem where when it comes to these type of games, where now people take you as a contender instead of a pretender, you are 0-3 against the same playoff teams who you might meet. So that's what's concerning about the loss, is they had these guys dead to rights. The Cowboys should have won the game, and really didn't do much to really disturb a Kirk Cousins, who they pretty much owned when he was with the Washington Redskins. And Kirk Cousins, he looked probably one of the best he's looked. So definitely some concern, and I believe one of the sportscasters stated that the Cowboys are going to be answering questions all week, and rightfully so. Because again, this loss is very concerning because, yeah, okay, you beat, next week you go ahead and you beat the Detroit Lions. Okay, that's great. But a week after that, you play the New England Patriots. Which, oh, by the way, I hope they're focusing on the Detroit Lions and not the Patriots, because the Lions can easily turn into a trap game, because that game is going to be at Detroit. So I hope they're not looking past the Lions to look past the Patriots. So they need to kind of keep focused on that. But this game really bothered me because I felt they should have won the game. And I don't know what play calling at the very end of the game, when the game got tight, now time to win the game. Your passing game hasn't working. The Vikings have not been able to stop the passing game. And you call running plays to Ezekiel Elliott that gets you 1 yard or no yards or yards lost. And on fourth down, you go to Ezekiel Elliott, where again, they have not been able to stop Amari Cooper, Randall Cobb, or Michael Gallup. And you have a Dak Prescott who would have got your first down with his legs. So this game, I'm going to put this on the coaching staff. I don't feel that they coached their best game, especially towards the end, and that kind of falls on Kellen Moore. I have to get on Jason Garrett again, because again, the team is coming out unprepared and listless in the first quarter of these ball games, where now you're having to battle back down from 14-0. So definitely the Cowboys are going to have some work to do. So until the next time, this is Chin Check Radio signing off.